Today I'm going to be talking or like expanding deeper about scholarship applications, or not essentially scholarship applications, but applying to graduate schools in the United States. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. In 2020, when I just started, I literally made that decision, and I just drew a roadmap, and I didn't know exactly where to start or when to start or what to do. I didn't know what to do. So you always start from somewhere. For a baby that wants to start walking, you start with taking a leap, and that's the leap all of you are taking right now. So even if you don't understand anything, don't feel odd, don't feel strange, don't feel like you are dumb. No, it's not true. Every one of us started like that, especially me. And the truth is that this process that you've all started is going to transform you. You're going to evolve. So it's really going to transform you if you commit the time, if you commit the thinking, if you commit the resources, if you commit the motivation. It's going to transform you, not just about getting the scholarship, but about who you become through the process. So let me just write on right now. I would love us to keep all of our questions. Like the moderator said, you're gonna be doing yourself a great deal of good if you have a note and a pen to write down things. So because I'm literally gonna run, but in my running, I'm gonna come as slow as possible. If you are in this group and you have some level, medium level of experience in scholarship application, I must take this time to apologize to you, that because I'm going to really come very low. I'm going to be talking to you as if I was talking to myself back in 2020. So why do you want to go to the US to study? The first time I decided that my focus is US, I did not bother myself. I love that he introduced a lot of scholarships. So to know that you have broad options, you know where your interest is. Sometimes if you have the energy, if you have the strength, you can spread your wings. For me, I was particular about US and I just focused on it. Their degrees are globally recognized, and we have thousands of universities. Like you're saying on my slide, we have over 4,000 universities to choose from in the United States. So there's lots of options. And in between school, depending on your program, you could go for an internship opportunity. A colleague in my lab currently went to a big industry to just do an internship for 6 months, getting money and getting experience at the same time. So those opportunities are there. And mind you, he's a PhD student. So another thing is the curriculum is really high quality. The education standard is high. There is also job opportunities, right? These people are actually creating job opportunities every single day. And of course, immigration opportunities. So then you might be asking the question, how do I get the funding to pay for going to school in the US? The truth is that that's a good question, because just taking one course here costs almost, some schools taking only one course, they used to charge school fees based on how many courses you're taking, may cost about $3,000. I don't say naira. So you want to think, when you decide where you want to go, if it's the US or Canada, you want to think, okay, how can I fund this? Is it doable? Now I have to introduce us to this information. We have opportunities to, I should use a laser pointer. We have opportunities in the US universities that can fully fund your graduate degree programs, or partially fund it, especially in the aspect of masters. Now, talking about graduate degree, I'm still going to come down to different types, but the masters, there's master's level, there's PhD level. So you can get full funding most of the time to do a PhD here in the US. Then masters, some of the time you will get full funding, other times you get partial funding, some other times you get no funding. So you will have external scholarships, which I'll still talk about more. External scholarship is external bodies, individuals, families that are wealthy, prominent people. They could just come to a school and then probably erect a building and then erect a funding source, and they just give people money to study. So you have to be aware of those. And external scholarship also could include the ones that are not really based in the school, right? So need-based and merit-based scholarships, and there is GAs, TAs, graduate fellowships, and loans. Don't worry. These three things I just mentioned, I would make sure to expand it. Just keep a tab on it. So the types of institutions you can go in this US includes public universities, just like the one I am here. Public universities, the state-owned or the federal-owned universities, and there are so many of them. And apply to as many schools as your strength can. People apply to up to 20 schools. I've seen someone that did that. So it's just about strategizing and knowing, building a plan from the beginning, right? So we have private universities. So right here in Utah, I've actually taken time to like check out the private universities we have, and I noticed we have a lot of it. And another one is we have religious universities. One of the religious universities that is really big here is Notre Dame. Notre Dame is almost like a public university, but it's also a religious university, and they are really good. Another one is liberal art colleges, or like what do they call it, community colleges. But you don't want to go here because there's always issue with getting visa when you get admission in this kind of university. You don't want to go here. So especially as an international student. So let's move on. So what kind of graduate programs can you find in the United States? Darlington have mentioned a lot about the doctorate program, which is the PhD, which is like mostly and most often highly funded. When you get into a PhD program here, it's almost automatically that you're going to get money for it because you come in to work on their research, and they invest money, big money in research here. And another one is the master's degree. And the master's degree, of course, we know what it is. It's like just typically the next level after your undergrad, but that's not always the case. Another degree you can get here at a graduate level is medical school. So medical school is not essentially graduate degree, but medical school here is different from what we have in Nigeria, where people, when they want to start medical school, they just start from year one and then they move like year one medical school. Like somebody's doing med and surg and they have 6 years. No, here in US, before you can enter a medical school is a different thing on its own. You must have finished a 4-year degree. So why I'm putting this information here, some of us have the intention of going to medical schools, becoming medical doctors in the future. The truth is that you may be eligible to go to medical school here, essentially if you have a 4-year degree. If you have a 4-year degree, I'm giving you an expo. That's one of the requirements, but there are other really stringent requirements that you should also learn. And another one is MD PhD. MD PhD is medical school / doctorate degree. When you finish, you're coming out with 2 degrees, and that is being a medical doctor and being a research scientist. And this is gonna take longer, but at the end of the day, you have 2 degrees, you can open a lab, you can still see patients. So like, it's really intense. Another one is the business school. The business school, I just highlighted the generally known one, the MBA, but different schools offer different kinds of business school-related graduate degrees. Another one is the nursing school. Some of the other times when people migrate to the US or just come over here for studies, they easily get admission into nursing school. Nursing school is something you do. Some people complete it in 2 years. And before you know it, they go into another like level of education, which could be Master of Science in Nursing. Another thing I also have to, a very beautiful tip I have to share with you is some people come here and they just do nursing school 2 years. And then by the time they graduate, they go and do this last one, Doctor of Nurse Practice. This Doctor of Nurse Practice, do you know what it does for you? It confers a doctorate degree for you that enables you to see patients just like a doctor. So essentially, you're going to be a specialist. You're no longer going to be like a regular nurse. You're almost going to be like a specialist, like a medical doctor. So this is really a good step that people that come here to do nursing degrees like go on to, and your pay is, I don't want to mention anything. So another graduate school is law school, and then they have the Masters of Law. So I know so many of us I don't know everyone's discipline, right? But I want to assume that we have diversity of people here. So people have like Masters in Law, and then another one is the Juris Doctor degree. And these 2 things are different. So I wouldn't like go deeper than what I have done already because I have to move on. So like, I'm only gonna like focus basically on these first two, number one and number two, PhD and the master's, but most essentially in the PhD one. But anything I'm saying can generally apply to the master's. But then if you go a little deeper, you now like fine tune it to the PhD. So for the PhD doctorate degree, just bear in mind that you're gonna spend minimum of 5 years doing it before you are done, minimum of 5 years here in the US. And the truth is that the first requirement is a minimum of 4-year undergraduate bachelor's degree. Yes, you heard me. If you have a bachelor's degree, you can do a PhD. Now, let me tell us a very quick story. The first group that I entered when I decided I'm doing a scholarship, I entered this group. I didn't know what they were talking about. People were just posting link, everyday link, clean. And then most of the times I look at the links, I'm like, these things are not for me. They are PhD. Because there are a lot of opportunities in the doctorate program in the USA. I was like, I kept telling myself, this is not for me. Is this like for other people? Like, people should say masters, right? I thought I wasn't eligible until one day someone shared his good news of his admission in the group and he got into a PhD. I just like, let me go to his DM, like the same scholarship group. I went to this guy's DM. I started asking him questions. He was like, he got this PhD with his undergrad. I said, like, give me gist. That was a turning point for me. Like, if you know what they call Kairos moment, that was like my Kairos moment. That guy gave me like almost detail. Like, the truth is that anyone that is ready to move, what you just need is a spark. Once you get that spark, which this webinar can be for you, then you can go across mountains to get what you want. And that's the spirit. So the truth is that as I spoke to this guy and he told me, you are eligible to apply to any PhD in the US, I was like, and I've been sleeping. I said, no wonder there were a lot of links. I was like, is it that everybody in the group has masters? It's only me that don't have masters. Because I was thinking that I must have to go through masters before I go to PhD. That's what everybody generally know, right? But that is not the truth. Here, it is possible. Another thing you need to have, like I said, minimum criteria is that you need to have a strong research experience, or at least demonstrate a strong research experience. Time will fail me to really go deeper into these things. But when you talk about research experience, people in Nigeria should think, me, I don't have any research experience. So you are lying to yourself. And I'm going to correct that lie today. You did internship, right? I'm sorry if you went to go and do business for your internship period, like, especially if you are in like fields or you are in like biological science related field or chemistry or something, people that do research. But even if you don't do research, in your internship, you're expected to like go to related field of your education and do the internship. Those things are important. They have their reasons. Now, this is where you should apply. You did that IT, the thing we do in we call IT back in Nigeria. Me, I did mine in a diagnostic laboratory, and then we also run normal school research. And that was a turning point for me. That 6 months experience, I detailed it in my CV, and then in my SOP, I still like made a paragraph for it. And then I talked about it because that was my starting point. That was my basic foundation. And I must tell you guys this truth. Over here in the US, they really appreciate these little internships that students take time to go to the labs to do. Why do I say that? Currently in my lab, we have 3 undergraduate students in my lab. They are coming to just learn, do internship, work in the lab. They believe that this really confers to you some skills, some research and questioning skills that you should have to do a PhD. And if you're able to present that, back in Nigeria, I also did it. It's not only in US they used to do it. I told them that and they were really impressed about it. So that was my first foundation in everything I built about my profile. I really, really went back and told myself, what did I learn? I went back and relearned them. And another thing you should do is, that's like the first internship opportunity you should present. Another internship opportunity you should present as a Nigerian, knowing that we necessarily don't graduate without doing a thesis research. That is a very big bonus. Over here, they don't do it. They don't really do this thesis research for the undergrads. They do other things, right? But in Nigeria, you do actual thesis research and present results. Sometimes we manipulate it, actually. But the truth is that if you know what you did, you can talk about it and it becomes a strong backbone. sincerely. So that is now this is another number 2 research internship that you did without your knowledge. Like, let me not say without your knowledge, without you volunteering to do it. This was conferred to you by force, by fire, by your school or your program. It's part of your graduation requirement. So these things are important and you need to pay careful attention to. Don't throw it away and say, it's just that engineering workshop I used to go there. It's not important. That is not true. Any experience that you have and you trash it, you are trashing your destiny. Don't do that. So another thing you should try to do now is that another way I acquired a lot of internship experience, research experience, was going to do free or unpaid internships. Whenever I had the chance, I'll just go to labs and then say, I want to work. Don't pay me. I just want to work. It doesn't make sense, right? I had moments I was so broke. I needed a good job. I needed a good paying job. But because I knew what I was looking for, I could go and do all of those unpaid internships just to get the experience. And then I was just noting them down. I worked in different labs. If you bring my CV, like this lab, this lab, this lab, this lab, and most of them are like unpaid. So that is really essential. So if you want to garner experience, you don't always have to go find jobs that would have to like tie you down 6 to 9 or whatever, just for money. If you want to do this, there are some other time you should like bring out to learn or acquire the skills that you need to build a strong profile. If you must apply to a doctorate program, the truth is that your biggest strength in PhD application is your research experience and how well you're able to articulate it. Because this is what you're coming here to do for your 5 years. It's not going to class and go and read. At a point in PhD program, you will stop going to class to learn anything. Everything you're doing is in the lab. You will not even leave the lab. Like as I'm speaking to you, I came to the lab today, Saturday. I was walking downstairs in the microscope room and the time for this meeting came. I closed the lab, I closed the microscope room and came upstairs just to connect, right? You're going to work your ass off and no one gives you working time. They will just give you a project and you need to deliver. So even if it is for you to work in the middle of the night, like I did yesterday, I went home at 12 midnight, you're going to do it. So one of the really key things is to really garner that internship experience and opportunities to get it. I have given you 2 free ones you got from your undergrad. Other ones you can now go and do is go to your environment. Back home, we had labs in my street. I would just go and meet the owner. Do you do research? I want to work. Anyhow, don't pay me. So that was it. Another thing they will look out for, not too strongly, is teaching experience. Strongly anyways. Now, why? Because you're going to, some of the funding in PhD will require you to teach so that you can get paid. So that is it. I'm still going to talk about that more. Now, good CGPA. This one is a little dicey. So I had applied to my program and had gotten into a PhD program with a 2-1. Not a 2-1 that is like under anyways, but like around 4 points. But the truth is that score doesn't really matter. Why? I would say that PhD, like graduate school application process in US is holistic. They don't only look at one aspect of your application and throw away the others. Let's say you finish with first class and you say, I must get in. It's first class. Or not lie. You're not getting anywhere. You need to like strengthen every aspect of your application. So CGPA, even if it's not too strong, go and strengthen other loopholes. Like me, I strengthened my research. As much as I know that, okay, my CGPA is not first class, but it's still like close, but it's fine. I will strengthen other things because you are in competition with other students, both citizens and internationals, especially the Asians that are coming here to do this program. So you have to like strengthen those things. But don't say, because I have first class, let me go and sleep. No, you still have some work to do because there are other areas you should strengthen. So another thing is your passion. You must demonstrate it in your SOP. Because it takes passion to do PhD here. If not, when you come, I've heard cases of most PhD students mastering out. What they call mastering out is after first year, second year, they say, I cannot do this. Give me masters, let me carry it and go like that. You don't want that to be your situation. But if for any extreme reason you find yourself in that situation, please, master, don't come and die here. It is intense. You must tell yourself that this is not just about Japa papers, especially if you must apply to PhD. I'm holding my ear. If it is PhD, you must tell yourself that I love this, I love school, I love research, and I want to put my time here because it's going to stress you. If not, you can do masters. That one is just 2 years. But you finish, go find job. But if not, if you know that your passion for schooling and doing research is not as strong, the stress is intense. So be wise. So you need publication. No, it's not, you don't need publication, right? But if you have it, it's a bonus. Let me just leave it at that. So minimum criteria for masters, this is just like the same thing, but I reduce some of the things in the PhD one. So like I said, everything I say for the PhD applies directly to the masters, but this one is light. So you need like 4-year minimum undergrad, little or no research experience, yes. Internship and industrial experience, yes. Teaching experience, good GPA, like that. But it's a little more flexible than PhD. So another thing I want to dive into is, now, how do you find funding opportunities? The truth is that, how do you start applying? First of all, you can apply to any school. And I will show you a list of, like, not a list of schools, but just sample. So, like I said, there are over 4,000 universities. If you find one that you see suitable, do they have your program of interest? Then go ahead and apply. Do you have so? If you ask yourself, do they have your program of interest? You ask yourself, do I meet the requirements? You ask yourself, do I have all the materials? Then go ahead and apply, right? So let me just keep running because I have more important things at the lower part of my slide. So why do you need to think about the finances? Because yes, every program here, every educational opportunity here needs tuition. And then how can you get it? There is tuition waiver opportunities. So for scholarship, for PhD, when you get admission, some schools will tell you you automatically get tuition waiver. And then they will tell you if it's full package. When I say full package or full ride, I mean full scholarship. They will also give you stipend. But if it's master, sometimes they will just give you tuition waiver. They waive your tuition. You'll not be paying school fees. You will not sort out yourself for stipend. That's your living expenses. Then there's loans. So some people come here for masters without full funding or no funding at all. But they come and use loans. You don't want to get yourself into this mess. Another means is campus jobs. Now, something I must just point out. If what you got is masters without funding, don't be discouraged. If you have the means to come here, you're able to come here, don't be discouraged. Because sometimes when you come in, you would even find out that your school have some internal funding. Like the first time I resumed my school, the International Student Office just released, like they're going to release it in this fall coming, and a funding opportunity that any international student can apply. And there's a huge sum of money, and they will give it to you to pay your fees. Right? And then there are other ones, like as you're even going around, you'll be seeing billboards, come and apply for the scholarship, come, and they'll just give you like, oh, it's 5,000 scholarships. You don't go and apply, you get it, 5,000, use it and support your distance. So don't be totally discouraged, right? Just make a step. Another thing you want to think about is living expenses. How do you want to support yourself? It's important because house rentals here is very, very, very humongous. And you want to think about that. And that is why if you don't have a full ride, you want to think about campus jobs. And, so many things I want to say, but there's no time. Campus jobs, I will leave it. So you want to think about your stipend allowance that your school is paying you. Now, graduate assistantship, this is one means people use in getting full funding. So when you want to apply to PhD, you can apply also. Some schools will make you apply to graduate assistantships directly under a PI. So Darlington has been using the word PI, but me, I will turn it to boss. Boss is the person you're working in their lab, your supervisor. So I'll just leave that PI word aside and use boss or your supervisor. So if you apply for that school, the school will open the application, come and apply for a PhD. As you apply, they will not tell you need to apply for graduate assistantships. That is, or research assistantship. The two of them are used interchangeably. You now have to go to a lecturer that has a lab in the school, and they are looking for students to come and work in their lab. You just want to say, sir, ma, professor, doctor, I'm interested in blah, 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 blah. So these are things or skills you will still learn alongside in your journey. So I want to say this at this point. The host, Stella, if possible, or you guys can even tell her, because every point that are being listed there, this is like a basic or foundation webinar, right? But every of the points here is a full topic on its own. If she has time for multiple distance, all of these things are the things that you have to learn. Even emailing code, emailing professors and all those things is a full topic. You will do a full webinar on it and stuff like that. So, but it's not what I'm going into right now. So, but when you want to apply for graduate assistantship, as you apply to the school, normally the way you apply for admission, right, in Nigeria, you have to now go under a particular lecturer. Let's say once a lecturer in your school, say, sir, I want to work under you, because here they have their labs and they have their setup. If they employ you, you are directly under them, and they'll be the one paying you your stipend or anything that you owe in the school, right? So they have graduate assistantship, they have research. So when you go to the websites to look for these opportunities, when you see these things, don't run away. So I don't understand what this means. It simply means a means of you funding this graduate degree, right? Explore it and ask questions. Another one is teaching assistantship. Some people are made to take classes so that they will get stipends. So that is an option, or even get like their full tuition waiver. Another one is graduate fellowship. I'm a graduate fellow. I don't work. I don't do any of these things to get my money. I just do my research and they pay me. That one is graduate fellowship. You just work in the lab, do your research. So you don't need to like go and start teaching for money, because I can still do like, I still have to like TA a class. I have to like teach a class, but it's just like requirements, class, like course requirements. Not that I'm going to do it from the first year of my schooling to the last year to get money. No, I'm just going to do it only one semester, and that's all, just to get the experience, right? And that's it. So this one is also an opportunity you can still find. So when you see it, don't think it's for people that have done masters and PhD before. No, it's still available for you. So yeah, one other important thing you want to pay attention if you're coming to the US is your health insurance. If you go to a school's website to apply to that school, you want to pay attention that they have a health insurance coverage. Even if it's not 100%, let them have a certain percentage, because in this place, if you fall sick, only to go and see one doctor, $2,000 back on your pocket. In fact, you'll be praying every day, Lord, I don't want to fall sick. God, I cannot fall sick, because it's so expensive to be sick in this place. So you want to go to a school that has some sort of coverage for you, so that if anything happens, like me now, like yesterday, I went to take 2 injections, like vaccines in my hand. I saw money they put on my account, but I know I'm not the one paying it. I just go there, take anything I want. The next, like, think by next week, I want to go see an eye doctor because my eye has been turning red unnecessarily. And then by next month, I'm scheduled for seats, anything. I'm just using the listing because I have a full coverage, right? It's not the one that when you are in school and you're having a headache, you're scared because you don't want to can't spend money. You want to pay attention to these things because there are some things that would still occur and you cannot prevent. So you want to look for both internal and external funding when you're also searching, right? Especially for masters, not for PhD. In PhD, most of the times you get automatic funding. So you want to look for those funding. And then example of the one I can show you, if you are a student here and you got admission in a master's program that didn't pay you, now this is an opportunity for women. This is a very good program, like very awesome. What is her name? Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was a scholar of AAW, right? And this external funding will sponsor women for almost all through their program year, if you get it. And it opens in August, right? But there is a but. You are required to go back home after your study. So you have to consider that one. And another one is Fulbright scholarship. This is a US sponsored scholarship. One of my classmates came into our PhD program through this means. And this Fulbright is paying like almost 50 or 70% of our fees, and my school is paying the rest. So this is an opportunity too. Another one is this International Peace Program. And another one finally is this. This one is one of the ones I was really hitching on. I started this application, but at a point I couldn't get into the medical school. I was thinking, then I just dumped it, and then I went straight to PhD. But this is a good one because if you get it, it's going to sponsor you all through your program. And let's move on. So one important thing, finding schools. How do you search for schools? Google is your friend. Darlington has done a good job of explaining why you must hug Google, making your is it not best friends forever? BFF. Yeah. So like I said, there's quantum number of schools here. If one school is not working, if you're not meeting the criteria of one, don't say, let me go and tie. I'm tired. I know what's this thing. No, don't give up on yourself. I've seen people that used to get fully funded admissions here, masters and stuff like that. So if one school like Harvard, you cannot meet their criteria, there is another school somewhere, they are looking for somebody like you. I'm telling you the truth. So don't give up. Search all of the options, exhaust it. That's what I'm saying. If you cannot get into Princeton, there's another one you can get into, and then go there. So another one is find schools that are matching your profile. That's exactly what I said right now. So I don't need to like beat it too much. So selecting schools, you want to select schools that have good funding. When you look at their website, How much acceptance rate do they have, especially for international students? You want to check that. They used to put that in the website so that you see the acceptance rates for international students, the mixed populations that they accept mostly. So there are schools here that are known for accepting really Nigerian or Black students. Like one of them is University of Tennessee, East Tennessee. I heard that if you go there, everywhere is scattered with Black people. So like those kind of schools are good bets because you know that they like you want to go there. So you want to also go to safe schools. Safe schools is when you apply to like your top schools, find out one that their requirement is really low. Like no matter what, they must accept you because this one is not so competitive. That's what you call safe schools. So these are like a list of some schools that you can start working from. You don't have to tell yourself, I don't know their names. Start from here. This is a comprehensive 30 list of 30 names of universities in the US. When you start, Google will now know that you are interested in US universities. So anytime you enter that your Facebook, it will start bombarding your timeline with US schools. So start, let Google know what you're interested in, and Google will bring it right to your doorstep. I know what I'm saying, and I know all of you understand this. I just said. So another thing is connecting. How do you connect to these schools? One important thing, and I think should be a separate webinar in this safe space community, is emailing, like email etiquette. So I saw some other persons using some kind of nickname on this platform. It's also not very formal, official. It's not really good. So there are a lot of things you should learn about email. So you can connect to different schools through email. Like in schools, like the way we have admin office in Nigeria, here, every program have their admins, their coordinators. They call them graduate coordinators. These people are human beings like me and you. You can talk to them and they will talk to you back. If you learn how to communicate properly, especially writing good emails, you can get to them to do anything. In fact, one of my selling points was getting a lot of application. In fact, I got application fee waivers for almost all the schools I applied to. And I had ones that I did not use. They just wasted like that. Right? That was because I could email and email. If you don't want to answer my email, I will email again and again. And they gave it to me, every single one of them. So this is a skill you want to know and learn. So you can ask them you can contact them and ask them that you want to speak to them. They will schedule a meeting, only you one-on-one. They will tell you about the program, answer all your questions. They are so open to do that. Don't shy away. Just believe in yourself and know that you can speak English and you can talk to them. Another thing is attend graduate school fairs. If you start searching on these schools now, you see on their website. I'm going to talk about application timeline for US schools, and then in that time you will start, when it's close to the application timeline, they will start hosting a lot of graduate school fairs. Let me break down graduate school fairs. It's not a big English or anything abstract. It's just like an opportunity where schools come to meet applicants, interested people that want to come to their school, and just tell them about their school. And then if you attend, just sit down and listen. You can ask questions about the program you're interested in. Ask any kind of question. In fact, the more you're asking questions, the more they're getting interested in you, and they will even note your name. If you apply, they want to give you admission. I had that experience. So you want to like attend these fairs. And then another opportunity, like Danity mentioned earlier, is that if you attend this fair, they will give you codes that you can use and apply to their school, and you don't have to pay money. This money, believe me, are humongous. If you're applying to 30 schools, no, 30 is big. If you're applying to 10 schools, and you can imagine if, let's assuming one school has application waiver of application fee of $50, and then you're applying to 10 schools, times 50 times 10. You will not know if you have like $500 to use and just do only application. No. So you want to go to these opportunities that would reduce your cost for you, because there are a lot of things that will even take your money naturally in this process that you started. So this is also like the same thing. They will do graduate admissions chats, Q&A session. You can, like I said, you can go to the website and schedule a one-on-one if you cannot wait for when they do the big fair where everybody comes and stuff like that. So like this is an example of what university application fee waiver looks like, codes. So if you go to the application and they give you, let's say this University of Pittsburgh, their code is H2P. When you are ready to submit your application, they'll ask you, do you have a code or do you want to pay money? If you have a code, you just put this, and it's as simple as that. So different schools will just give you their code, and once you put it in, you submit your application without paying money, and it's as simple as that. So yeah, another thing I need to mention is when you attend to this grad school fest, some schools are very meticulous and even intentional in guiding you through your application process, because they want you to get in. They will even teach you how to write your CV well. I'm telling you the truth. How to like what things to watch out on your SOP. Schools will teach you, the schools that you're even applying to. So it's not a test or an exam. No, they want to really see you. So they want to like make the platform easy for you to express yourself. So this is a good opportunity for you to like learn a lot of things about that school and how the nature of the application materials. So application timeline. So we have two major. Okay, sorry, I just got a message. We have like two major ones for graduate schools, two major application timelines. Forget this summer. Summer, like there's no really summer application cycle for graduate school, but this is general school semester or school timeline in the US, right? They have the fall semester, spring semester, and summer semester. But then this one doesn't really apply to graduate students. This two does apply to graduate, and you can apply to grad school in these two thing. And you can see I like specified when this thing starts. Like the fall semester starts in August and ends in December, and that's the same thing with the application. So if you want to go to the fall, if you want to get into the school in the fall, you want to start applying when the school resumes, and that is the August. And September is like the end of fall semester. But then some schools extend the application season beyond September, but you don't want to do that. I'll tell you the reason why later. So why do you want to like go to a particular semester, apply to a particular semester and not the other? Fall semester has more of the funding. That is the biggest that is the biggest admission cycle. So you want to like apply in that cycle because the money is there, more money is there, there's more admission. If they apply, if school want to admit 100 students, let me tell you the truth, they will admit like 80 in the fall semester and the 20 in the spring semester. So more money is in fall, and if you're looking for scholarship, you want to like focus more on the fall. But even if fall doesn't work, you know that there's still room to try spring, right? And spring, like I said, starts in January and toward March and the likes. So like this is a summary, a table that summarizes this. And I want to mention something important. Anytime I'm saying something, I say important, better note it too. It will come handy. So anyways, the fall semester cycle, like I said, there's what we call early application cycle, and there is what we call late application cycle. You want to be in the early application cycle. Hold your ear. If you want to get scholarship, if you want to get funding, don't go and submit your application when they say there is the schools, every school have early deadline and late deadline. You want to be in the early deadline, and the early deadline for most schools is from August to December 1st. Some schools are stopping around November 15th, but general, like most schools will stop from August to December 1st. So if you want to apply to school, start gathering your material early. Make sure everything is ready before this timeline. So even if there's anything you want to take, standardized tests, write your essays, make sure by this time, it's December 1st, you submit all the application. In fact, during my time, I submitted like 6 applications on December 1st. Go. But I had already started the applications earlier, and I filled every other thing. The only thing that was remaining was like uploading my materials and just clicking the submit button. So you want to like be on time, because if not, you will now be moved over to the late application. And one thing is here, there's no partiality. They start attending to first come, first serve. Here, you don't skip line. In this country, when you come here, you will notice that skipping line is a big thing. So that's the same thing with the application. The people that apply early are the people they're going to consider first. When they have sorted out all the resources, like the talents they want from the early application pool, and they now look at their money. Do we still have money? Maybe we have like 2 more funding. Let's look for 2 more persons in the late application. And if you had dropped your application in the late one, and maybe there are like 10 of you there, and it's too funding, you know it's tough. You don't want to put yourself there. So I don't know whose mic is on, but it's distracting. So I have to like change my. Okay, I guess it stopped. So please try to mute your mic. It's one other like formality in joining official Zoom meetings. So like I need to run, God have mercy. So like the spring semester starts like from the January to April. That's like the early application, and late like for fall, January to March, like that. But let me tell you the truth, by the time you want to submit late in January, some people are already receiving decisions like in November. Like they are receiving decisions like admissions or rejections like in November. So you want to be on this side. on this side, not on this side. So let's just move on. So baseline application material, because Darlington has made a good like overview of this, I will just like skim through it. It's just the same thing. So I'm not going to beat on it, but there's two particular ones I will beat on. So let's just leave. So yeah, others. So these are like the baseline. So even if you don't have every other thing, you must have these things. That's why I call them baseline. Others include standardized tests. So standardized tests, like I said, there is GRE and there is TOEFL, English test. English test, TOEFL, Duolingo, IELTS, and the likes. There is publications. It's not compulsory, but it's really like it's helpful. So online course, yeah, I said all of those. Then I'm gonna like beat a little on the standardized test and then the recommendation later, and then I'll just run. So application material. Let's start with the letter of recommendation. Letter of recommendation is just that letter that is given by somebody that knows you. Like, let's say your lecturer, your academic advisor back in university in Nigeria, most likely because you are coming to an academic environment, even when you want to go and look for jobs, some jobs will ask you for letters of recommendation. But here, this is an academic environment, so you want to get something from at least two of your letters of recommendation to come from your school. So in US, generally, most schools, especially for PhD, will ask you for 3 letters of recommendation. So why is this document important? This is one of the best, like one of the pivotal materials you need to submit for your application. And each school, let's say you apply for PhD, each school, even for masters, most masters will ask for three characha for one school. Sorry for that, Igbo. So 3 for one school. And by the time that you are applying to 10 schools, and you need to submit three applications for 3 like letters for one school, just times 3 times 10, that's like 30. How would you get all 30 persons to write you recommendations? So the skill you want to know is, how do I get this? I'm still gonna say that at the end of this particular slide. So but then what must be included in your letters of recommendation? It has to be academic. It has to like talk about your academics, rather it has to talk about your academic proficiency, your professional skills. Like if you were kind of a leader in school, or you did some kind of like volunteer anything, you want your writer. Remember, you're not the one writing. So I'm going to explain this in quotes later. You're not the one writing in quotes. It's supposed to be coming from your professors or your lecturers or boss where you did your internships. Yes, it's important to also bring letters from where you did your internships. So they have to talk about your professional skills. So what you want to do is, anybody that's writing this for you, enlist what you've done. In fact, give them your CV and say, sir, this is what I've done. And list some other ones that are not in your CV and explain to them, especially the ones that they don't know about, because they don't follow you everywhere you go. Your academic advisor probably just know you for your academics gone. They don't know your extracurricular activities and stuff like that, or your internship activities. So you want to like give them those so that they can highlight the ones they can highlight, and then buttress the one that they directly related with you from. So they want to talk about your personal traits. What kind of person are you? Are you a creative person? Do you answer questions in class and stuff like that? They'll put it there. They want to talk about your intellectual ability in that later. They want to talk about your leadership skill. I mentioned that, your credibility and competence, and then your accomplishments. Yes, it's important. So if you don't have accomplishments, you don't have to go and win 100-meter, one marathon race, or like one round the country race. No, accomplishments can start from little things. When they are doing orientation or convocation in your school, did you volunteer to do anything? What did you do? What small things? Start making impact in small places. Before you know it, those things will rise. I did a lot of things, free things in school. And before, I was doing it just because I love doing it. But before I knew it, I gathered all of those and I put them all in my CV. And then they were speaking for me. So they want to see your ability to give back to the society, because this environment supports that strongly. And you want to gather those skills if you don't have them. So the next thing I will talk about is, these are some of the phrases. So I have links that I've attached. I'm still going to send it at the end of this webinar, that you can get all of this. So I'm not going to go in deeply into this. But then there are some phrases and some keywords that are supposed to be seen in your your letter of reference. Like you have to use action words, you have to use some phrases. Like let's say this one of the phrase here is like your lecturer wants to say, I'm pleased to provide the reference for, I'm pleased to do this one. He's a creative problem solver. Those kind of action words and stuff like that should be used to build around your CV. Your letter of recommendation. So in as much as we don't essentially write the letters of recommendation, you can direct your lecturer or whoever is writing for you to write properly what they should. Then let them not give you half bread. Here is a serious matter, and they will pay attention to every word they wrote about you. So this is a sample, and I will not go into it, not at all. Remember, this is example. No plagiarism. If you plagiarize here, you are shooting yourself right in the leg. So let me just run. So this is example, and like I said, the tips for you to obtain your letters of recommendation. So this is one problem we have as Nigerian students. Our lecturers, some of them are not so exposed, some of them have not traveled before, and they don't take this thing serious. Offer here is a serious business. If you're going to meet any professor and tell them to write the recommendation for you, they must submit it by deadline. They will not miss. So they know how important it is. But in Nigeria, you beg and beg. In fact, one of the things that used to cripple our Nigerian application success is because some of our lecturers don't essentially have the time or don't find it as much importance to send these letters. By the time you send the application, you will notice that the letters did not come. They will not consider your application. So this letter is part of like requirement for your application to be complete. So if it's not there, they will consider it incomplete and nobody will bother reading it. So this is one thing you want to like hold your ears and know how to get it. So what did I do back in school? When I noticed I was gonna apply to scholarship later in the future and I needed letters of recommendation, I started getting close to my lecturers. I would text them new month messages and all of those things. Whenever I'm going back to school, I will buy gifts. Come and see me, use my last card. This journey will drain your money. I will use my last card and buy gifts and go and thank them and just like tell them things. And then every new month I will send them this. I still send them even till now. So that's like helps to build that connection. So I was gonna tell a story about no, I'm running. I'm not telling a story to that. So yeah, there's something else I needed to like mention here. So another thing that used to make it hard for some of our Nigerian lecturers to write letters for us is sometimes they don't have the time. I don't blame them. Sometimes they don't really know what to write. That's the truth. So one thing you can do to make life easy, and I did it, is to compose a draft. And don't be arrogant. You want to be nice so that you don't tell them, sir, you cannot write. It's not true. Compose a draft, and if you compose it yourself, you'll be able to put all the things that you want to say about yourself, and then tell them in the email, sir, please write a letter for me, blah blah blah. But I have attached a draft in case if you find it good enough that you want to like amend it, you can amend from here and it can make things easier for you. Like be very polite and be very nice. And I did it, and then it worked for almost all my recommenders except one person, because she told me from the beginning that she does not allow students to write, and she's a professor, and she has been in my school. She's schooled, not in my school. She's been in Utah. She's schooled in one of the schools in Utah, and she understands these things properly. So this one you can trust her to write perfect for you. So she wrote it, and then she will keep to her word. She never misses deadline because she understands. She has been exposed. So that's the only person I did not send to, and I trusted that she delivered. So you want to like make friends with as many lecturers as possible. I used to tell myself minimum of 5. If you cannot get up to 5, have at least minimum of 3 or 4, because if you're applying to many schools, you want to keep rotating this. At a point, they will get tired. So there's a way you could just rotate them. So me, I had like up to 7 to 8 persons. So let's leave that. It's just I would have given tips of how I got them, but there's no time. So let me just move on. So academic CV is another thing we want to prepare. And the first thing about it is the headline, and it's a totally different thing. And I'm going to like really breeze through it. You want your headline and your title and to just give all this information here. Your background should give all this information here. Your education background rather should give all this information here. This is a total full topic on its own that you should learn in this community, like this student space, safe space, right? Like I know the host has a lot of plans, a lot of things in store for you, so just sit tight, don't leave the group. So this is a full topic on its own, and I wouldn't go deeper into it, but I just wanted to like highlight some things. So like you want to also talk about your research. Like I said, when I noted down all my research, oh my God, I'm out of time. When I noted down all my research, I was able to now like build them on my CV. Essentially, when you start building all these things on time, one thing to help you, you see your loopholes, you see where you need to like put more effort, you see where you need to like go and get more experience in, and you start working hard towards it. So it gives you like a map, and it helps you to and it helps you to be more strategic in everything you're doing. So like all of this, I'm not going through all of them, but then I have a sample right here. Like I said, it's a sample. And academic CV, you cannot come and give them 4 pages long. Meaning, like, because you don't have as much experience, they know that you don't have it. And it's not like somebody that has postdoc and now is a professor. A maximum of 2 pages, rather. Maximum of 2 pages. Before it enters to 3 pages, you have to know the content, what is inside. In fact, if it's up to 3 pages, start looking for the things you will remove. Leave only the most important things. And this CV, if you're like, let's say if you're applying to a position in a chemistry program, don't come and say I worked as a cashier in one supermarket. It's not relevant here. You have to put only what is relevant to what you are aiming to get, right? So whenever you have a session on this, the person would really like expound on it. So let me just move. So like preparing your materials, this like a continuation from the other slide, the essay too. I talked about the essay. So I think I overheard Darlington talking about the prompt. Now, this is a sample as if he knew that I had something like this in my slide. This is an example of what a prompt, a question that a school can ask you. Like you can see, this one is from Stanford University. And if you read this question, they will give you like succinct like description of what the exactly points they want you to hit in your essay, and you must make sure that you cover all of them. They will ask you future career plan, research interest, field of study, like they will highlight it and tell you where are you going to and all of those. This is another one. People that are smart are going to be taking screenshots of my screen right now, and then now at their own time they will go and really take deeper look on these things. So that's what I do most of the times when I'm in webinars. So this is also from Purdue University. Now this is even described, they want only 500 words, right? So this is from Northeastern University and blah 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 blah. They will like give you direction of what, so you cannot write out of point or out of direction. So you want to stick to what this prompt said. Darlington has said that already. So this is a general guideline of what a statement or an essay, application essay looks like. It has to have an introduction. It has to have body paragraph. Your body paragraph may not be limited depending on the word limits they give you. Some schools don't give word limits. Some will tell you 3 pages, some will not give you. If they don't give you, write as much as you can. My school did not give. I gave them 3 pages of essay. Some schools that gave, you would have to stick to what they give you. So you have to also have a conclusion. So body paragraph is where you enlist all your experiences. Your first paragraph, maybe talk about how you got into your undergrad and what you did briefly, maybe courses. Sometimes it's not necessary. You don't have to follow a pattern, but just build a story. Building a story is very important. It makes your writing coherent. Your second paragraph, maybe you talk about your internship experience, what you learned and stuff. So there is even structure for every of this body paragraph. Anybody that would take you on essay writing or SOP would go deeper in all of this. So your third paragraph can talk about another experience, maybe another free internship that you did. Another paragraph can talk about your leadership experience, your extracurricular activities. So, but at the end of everything, you must have a conclusion paragraph that would tie everything down and tell them why you are coming to their school and what you use it to do in your future. All of those, you will learn it when you do this in full course. So another thing I want to show us is like a sample. This is what I mean by introduction. Very succinct. This person has stated a problem and stated an impact and stated a result, what they've decided from a problem. So this is mostly general pattern people use in writing this, but there is no ABC how to do it, right? But just learn how to write a story that somebody is reading, they will get captivated until they see the end. So put it in a coherent manner. So another part is the body, right? Like I told you, there is body. So this body can just tackle maybe one experience, right? Internship and say, okay, this one is talking about their junior year internship at ABCD Kini. So this particular paragraph, body paragraph, even talked about an internship. So you can use different body paragraphs and talk about different experiences and then conclude with a conclusion paragraph. Now, this is a conclusion paragraph, what it looks like. Very succinct, just not everything and tell them where you're going in the future, and then they will love you for real. So just your aim is to keep them captivated so that anybody that's reading your essay, because they have thousands of essays to read, you don't want them to dump your own in the middle when they've not even gotten to your first body paragraph. So you want to get the person captivated, whatever you're saying, right? So let's move over to standardized tests. I am really fast pacing everything I'm saying. And like over to the standardized tests, Stella had asked me to really go deep into this GRE, TOEFL and stuff, but GRE in particular, because I took the GRE, right? And by God's grace, I gave it all my all. In fact, I had to resign from my job because of GRE. That was the sacrifice I did back then. So the truth is that you want to take, if you decide to write this exam, they can be tough. Like what Darlington explained, they are like a ruler that helps them to rule everybody that is being admitted into this program, both citizens, both international. So this is like a standard, like it's called standardized test. It's like a ruler that helps to measure. So, but the truth is that since after COVID, a lot of schools have started waiving the GRE because it's really a tough exam. So like there were some situations that made them to start waiving it and stuff, and the costs too, right? Especially on international students. So they started waiving it, but then there are some schools that are still like stringent. Like GMAT is really one thing that business schools, if you're in a business related program here, GMAT is one thing that they will ask you, and it's also another very serious exam. TOEFL is an English test. LSAT is for law school, like you can see the name is under there. Now this is another English test. So this is a cheap English test that so many schools have started accepting right now. Before, the two mostly accepted ones are TOEFL and IELTS. I didn't put it here. Sorry for that. But after that, Duolingo is quite as more easier than this other two, and it's more affordable, right? If the school you're applying to is accepting it, please go and write this one. But usually I will recommend writing this one that is generally accepted, in case if you have a school that is not accepting Duolingo, you have this one to present to them. But if you don't have that money and what you have is for this, write this one and hold it and apply to the schools that accept it, right? You just have to like do something. So can I go through this? Stella. Hello, Stella, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, what do you want me to do? I still have like a couple more slides, like about two, or no, not even two, like about three. Do you want me to just like read through this or just explain things? Can I get extra 5 to 10 minutes?
Okay, so you can get
If
up
the
to
participants don't mind, because I know it's really late already in Nigeria.
yes, yes, but we can also have the participants begin to send questions in the
Okay, we can
chat.
do that. So let me just like round everything up as fast as I can. So this is this TOEFL exam. The TOEFL exam structure is also, if you're preparing for this exam, it's also another topic that you would take another session to like delve more into it. But this is an overview. The exam structure would ask you about reading. They will ask you about listening. You have to like listen to someone talk, and then you would answer question based on what you've listened. You have to speak. So you have to like answer a question. They will give you a prompt and probably tell a story of the first day you entered a new city. Then you have to talk. They want to hear your intonation. They want to hear you pronounce what they want to hear your grammar. Then the writing, you have to write, right? So write an essay. They will give you a prompt to write an essay. And so this is just it's about like the duration and every other thing regarding it, the details about the exam. So let's move on to the GRE. This is like the mother of them all. They consider it very tough, but the truth is that it's really doable. I've seen a lot of people ace the GRE. So the GRE doesn't have like, so it has an higher score that is called the 340. So it has two basic sessions, the verbal session and the quantitative session. Each of these sessions has a maximum score of 170 and a minimum score of 130. So if you have 0 over 0 in your GRE, you will see 130. If you have 100 over 100, like it's not 100 questions anyway, I'm just exaggerating, you will see 170 for like the verbal reasoning. So they will like give a cumulative of everything. So there's a session they call analytical writing session. This one comes after you've written your exam, but these other two, immediately as you're submitting your exam, you see your score for the verbal and the quantitative. Then the analytical writing is writing, essay writing. They'll give you this different kind of critical thinking topics to write about. So, but it's really doable. If you put your time to it, you can do it. I did it too. And I've known thousands of other persons that did it. So you can get the GRE computer delivered in Nigeria. Like you can take it on centers, like computer centers. Paper delivered is not really available in Nigeria. So these are just like the kind of questions they will ask you. So each of the quantitative session will have 20 questions for the first section, 20 questions for the second section. Verbal 2, we have like that, 20 for 2 sessions. They will not have an extra session that could be either verbal or either quantitative, just for test. That one does not add to your score. The ones that add to your score are the first 2 sessions that you do for the quant and the verbal. So you want to pay more attention and learn everything you can about this exam. Know all the nitty-gritties. It takes time. It took me minimum of 6 months to prepare for this exam. And I went over 6 months, right? Because of money at the end. When I was ready, I didn't have the money. And I continued studying, right? Until I took it. So application processing cost. This is one important thing you want to pay attention to. But I'm not going over all of these materials, like all of this money. Application processing is like from the beginning of the application till when you get into the US. That's what you mean by application processing cost. And I listed some things here. Your transcript, your school will ask you for money for processing a student's transcript for you. You want to save for that. TOEFL, this is the equivalent sum. I don't know if this has increased from this or dropped. GRE still equivalent sum. Application fees may be equivalent from 50 to, like most schools do, from $70 up to $150. International passports. Geez, this is not 500,000. This is 50,000. This is 50,000 naira, Jerry. It's not 500,000. Don't get scared. It's 50,000 approximately. And you want to start saving for this. How can you get money to process this? So this is one stumbling block for most Nigerian students that want to apply to US and some other US in particular, because some other like externally funded scholarships like Chevening and stuff, they really like pay you for some other things. No, not for these ones anyways. Not for this one. You have to like sort yourself out. So most of the scholarships really require you to get all of this, and it requires money. But I have a good news. There are some organizations that sponsor for this, and you want to target these organizations. Number one is Education USA. Like I mentioned, I was a scholar of this. So they sponsor students to pay for everything concerning their application from beginning to the end, starting from getting your transcript, from like getting transcripts. Sometimes it's rare for them to sponsor you because one of the criteria of you getting in is that you must have had a transcript. But sometimes if you don't have an officially given student transcript, they can help you pay for it. If probably you compiled your transcript yourself and submitted, they can actually like give it for you. So another place is another company is iScholars. They also do the same thing with that Education USA do to help students pay for their GRE and their English test, these 2 things in particular. But Education USA can pay for everything, including when you get admission, they'll pay for your flight and stuff like that. So another one is this Michael Taiwo scholarship. They will pay for like your English test and your GRE. So don't tell yourself money is the problem. One of the things I told myself, money cannot be my problem. I started studying for GRE when I did not have a dime. When I was ready, I still did not have money. But at the end of the day, I got scholarships from like 3 sources, and I did not know what to use them to do at the end of the day. And everything got settled. So when you want to put your mind, I say, no matter what, nothing can stand as a stumbling block. Push all the walls down and get what you want. So another one is ANSWER. This is American Guinea, something. But it's organized by people that actually live in Nigeria, former scholars that came in US, that came from Nigeria to US to study. And after they formed this, they sponsor like about approximately 5 to 7 to 10 persons. So their own is quite small. These other 3 are large, at least from 30 up, from 20 upwards to 30, like that each year. So one important thing you must know is that if you want to start this journey, you have to tell yourself, I must save. When I was doing my service here, I saved all of my alawi for getting transcripts, for getting my international passport. Don't go and beg money for everything. You want to show people some level of seriousness, and then help will come. I saved everything. I did not use it to buy wig or anything. I was literally like but I saved all my money. I used it to buy. I used it to start processing the things I needed. In fact, by the time I was leaving my state of service, I had to borrow money to come back. I don't have money to come back. because I paid, because the last month I just used my last salary to complete it to get my international passport because I was determined to get what I wanted. So you want to leverage on app fee waivers. Learn how to attend graduate school first to get these waivers. It will solve a lot of problems. And also email graduate coordinators to ask for fee waivers. Another means is, I don't know if you can see what is here, but I guess something is blocking it. I don't know, but let me see.
Test waivers.
Yeah, test waivers, right? So you can actually email schools to waive this English test for you. Tell them you did your undergrad in English and you can submit proof for it. So if you want to use that strategy, you want to go back to your school and tell them to give you proof of English language proficiency. If you submit it to them and the school wants to approve you, they can approve it and then they will remove English test for you, and that's cutting a lot of cost. Yeah. Some other people can also apply for GRE waivers if you have some sort of strong something. Like, I cannot go into that one right now. So you want individuals also sponsor people. So if you go to Twitter academic community, there are people that, like, during application season like this, they will say, I'm sponsoring 10 pieces for their TOEFL, and you will see they will sponsor those people. So you want to follow those kind of people. There's another guy that did, like, last year, he sponsored up to like 20 to 50% for their international passports, and randomly just on social media. So you want to, like, follow those people that are always posting on academic related things. Follow them. They used to post opportunities of funding and some sort of things that can help you to process a step of your distance. So I'm getting to the end of this thing now. So after all of your application, you want to get ready for your interview. Now, you've gone through the waters, crossed 7 mountains and crossed 7 rivers to get to the interview. If you get an invitation to interview, that's a very big bonus. That means they like your application, they like you, they want to see you in person. So you want to put all of your effort inside one pot, cook it with prayer, cook it with all the ingredients that you know. So you have to practice for your interviews, use YouTube videos. So I have listed some kind of the commonly asked questions that you can get. I can't go through all of these, but like, interview is, when you get to that step, is another session on its own that you have to, like, learn. So every of this process will require you to learn something, and as you're learning, you are getting transformed, you're getting evolved, and you're getting better at things, right? So post admission, if you've gone through your interview and you're admitted, then you want to collect your I-20 from your school, because this is what you use to go and collect your visa. After getting this, you use it for your visa application. After your visa application, you're going to prepare for your visa interview. It's another process on its own. When you get to this level, you will still get the resources to prep for visa interview. And then you want to consider flight and then prepare for travel. Welcome to the United States of America. So at this point, I will say thank you to everyone for